Alright, so we finally got the spoilers for Boruto chapter 64, and I want to say hats off to my boy Organic Dinosaur because he always comes in clutch every single month, and I just want to say hats off to him. So first I want to get into the first panel we saw. So we first got an image from the new chapter. And a lot of people are saying that it's possibly not legit, but it was retweeted by Organic Dinosaur, so I would say it's very credible. So I'd say it's very legit, and it really lines up with what he says afterwards. So we have a panel of Boruto actually holding his chest and he's on the ground. So it seems like he has collapsed after using the new form, which is Karma version 2. I think that's what everyone's calling it. I don't think it was ever officially named that, but we're just gonna work with it. So based on what I actually spoke about in my first video, so I actually made a video on chapter 64, I think about Friday or Saturday, and I said that what I think about this form is that Boruto, it's not really an increase in power, it's just that Boruto is the one that's in control. And it might be because of the pill he got from Amado. I think I mentioned that in the video, and this was all but confirmed in this chapter. I wouldn't say confirmed because we have to remember that these are characters that are just like inferring stuff. They don't truly know what's happening, and we might get contradicted in a later chapter when the facts are revealed, but we can go off what Ada says in the next snippet I'm going to pull up, because she actually mentions the pills Boruto got from Amado, because we have to remember that she has the Sharingan and it provides her with clairvoyance or something like that, so she can see current events and past events, so she can actually see what's happening in the village. So she knows that Amado gave Boruto the pills. So before we get to that, we actually have a tweet that came out from Organic Dinosaur, and he said that this is basically the text on page 41. So this is page 41 from the chapter. So he says that in a battle amongst those who wield karma, the two contenders are evenly matched. This is very important. It says evenly matched. But in the midst of their fight, a strange phenomenon is transpiring with Boruto's body all of a sudden, or within Boruto's body all of a sudden. So this is really important, so I want to tackle it before we move on. So this has been a point of contention on Twitter ever since it was tweeted, because I think we're all under the assumption that Code is stronger than Boruto, because simply for the fact that Ishiki is stronger than Momoshiki, and Boruto has Momoshiki's karma and Code has Ishiki's karma, and it was never really stated that Code lacks power because his karma is a white karma. It's stated that he has all the powers, he just doesn't have Ishiki's soul and can't be the vessel. So it's not really stated that, oh, he's a weaker version of the black karma. It's stated to have the same amount of power, so he should be able to access Ishiki's powers and Ishiki's threat, right? So to say that they're evenly matched, it's kind of confusing when it comes to power scaling. But we also have to remember that Code has his limiters on, so Code is not really accessing the full powers of Ishiki's karma, so we have to keep that in mind. So Boruto could evenly match Code, because also we can say that Boruto is not at full power because he's also just 80% or maybe 85% at this point Otsutsukified, so he's not 100% Momoshiki either. But Code is definitely not using his full powers because the limiters are on, and we can say that the limiters are limiting his power beyond like maybe 20% or something, right? Because he's nowhere near Ishiki's level at this point. If we remove those limiters, then we'll have some question as to how Boruto is fighting him, right? But at this point in time, he has a limiter, so it's safe to say that, yeah, he's not using his full power, so Boruto could evenly match him in a fight, especially since Boruto is using Karma version 2, which is basically Boroshiki without Momoshiki being in control. So we actually got a lot of information for this chapter, and we have this page here that Organic Dinosaur posted, so we're going to go through it bullet by bullet. So the first point is about the cover page, which has Shikamaru standing in a cool pose. Basically the cover page for the chapter, which is really interesting. Like, this chapter doesn't really revolve around Shikamaru or Shikadai or anything to do with that family. So it's kind of weird to have Shikamaru on the cover. You know, normally we'd like to see like maybe Boruto in the version Karma 2 state, right? Maybe Naruto, maybe even Code, because this is their kind of chapter. But the fact that we have Shikamaru on the cover is really interesting, and it kind of lends to the idea that someone might die this chapter, and it might be Shikamaru. Because normally when someone is featured on the cover, the chapter has something to do with them. But we kind of got some information as to why he's on the cover, because he is involved in the chapter, but I don't think what he's doing right now, as in running with Naruto to the danger, to the battlefield, warrants him being on the cover over everybody else. So it must be something more important than him just being in the fight. Something might happen to him, he might die, go in a coma, or get sent away, captured, but something definitely might happen to Shikamaru for him to be featured on the cover over everybody else. So the next point states that Code is still moderately impressed that Boruto unleashed Momoshiki's power. So in another tweet, he actually posted the text, so the basically the dialogue between both of them, which kind of infers that this is what he's doing. Like, he's impressed, or it's a little bit of an ego drive, because he thinks he can beat them, so he wants to see what they can do. But as Ada is saying to him, he shouldn't underestimate them, because they might kill him before he gets to remove the limiter. So Ada is pretty confident that Code could take them on without his limiters, but she's not so confident in his abilities with the limiters on, which is something that we should pay keen heed to. So the third one says, Ada is still spectating remotely and provides intel to Code about Boruto being on Amado's drugs. So this is what I mentioned earlier. So she doesn't infer at this point that his form is due to the drugs. That happens later on in this page, so I'm going to say that when we get there. But she can see the information with her clairvoyance, with the Sharingan, so she can see that Boruto did receive the drugs and relays that information to Code. It's kind of interesting that she didn't relay it before, because again, it's current events, unless she's just viewing the information now and she's viewing it as past events, because she can see in the past and the current. So it's either she saw it before, which would mean that she saw it when it was happening, or she's just seeing it now because she's looking into the past, because she still has her Sharingan activated, so she is doing something. Damon is still fast asleep, which is good because we don't want him interfering. Actually, don't want to see him like involved in this fight any at all, because we want to see what Code is capable of and what Boruto is capable of and what Kawaki is capable of, because we have to remember Kawaki is still in this chapter, guys. He's still there, he's still watching, and we'll get to that as well. The next point is pointing out what I stated earlier. Boruto is able to maintain his own consciousness without being hijacked by Momoshiki at all. So yeah, this just basically confirmed what we've already addressed. So this is where it states that Ada thinks it's an effect of Amado's drugs. So yeah, we addressed that. We can move on from that, but yeah, that's basically what I said earlier. She thinks it's because of the drugs. She thinks, which is very important, she thinks. She's not seeing it as a fact, because she doesn't know, you know. So you have to remember that. Take it with a grain of salt, even though it's from the characters that are in the series. So here we have Boruto tries to overwhelm Kon with 4 Kage Bunshin and Taijutsu, but we have to know that Boruto's Kage Bunshin doesn't manifest the karma marks or a different right eye. They're just normal. So no, guys, this doesn't confirm that the original Boruto has the Jogan. He's simply saying that the clone versions of Boruto, the shadow clones, don't possess the Byakugan, because we have to remember that when Boruto goes into the Momoshiki manifestation, he has a Byakugan. So that's what he's referring to as a different right eye. It's just the Byakugan, not the Jogan. So the rest of it is kind of describing the fight that he's having with Code and all the abilities that they're using and the strategy that Code is using on Boruto. We don't need to go through all of that. You guys can pause it and read it if you want to, but that's going to make the video longer than it needs to be. And I am not actually going to go through it myself, because I want to really save some things for the actual chapter. I don't want to fully spoil myself, you know. So yeah, I did kind of read some of it, but I skipped over some of it because I don't really want to know how the fight happened, because I want to like keep it for the chapter itself, so I'm not bored while reading the chapter. I want to be excited, you know. So yeah, you guys can check it out. But one thing we can point out is what's like the dialogue and what's happening and what other characters are inferring from the battle, right? We have Kawaki saying that these movements are not of Boruto. So he's basically inferring that Boruto is using Momoshiki's battle experience, which Code actually mentioned in the prior chapter. So it's kind of weird that as Code mentioned this, like in the next chapter, Boruto is using it like no training, like nothing, just right away. It's kind of iffy in my opinion. I don't think he should be able to do it like right away after hearing about it, but maybe that's why he can do it, because he heard about it. So it's like thinking to himself, maybe I can try to access this power, right? And that's what he did. So yeah, he's basically using Momoshiki's battle experience, but he's still Boruto. We have some other things here. Basically, Naruto directs Ino to stop searching for Kawaki's chakra, because again, they can't see it because he hid it with his Otsutsuki power. but they should focus on Boruto because Boruto hasn't hidden his chakra, because Boruto doesn't know how to use that ability as yet, but he is aware of it because Kawaki did use it. So the fact that they can track Boruto's chakra infers that he's not using the Otsutsuki ability to hide his chakra, which is pretty neat. But one thing I think a lot of people didn't get into, as I'm thinking about that ability, Kawaki no longer has the karma. So how is he using the Otsutsuki ability to hide his chakra? Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone brought that up, even on Twitter, in any video at all. Like, how is he using the abilities of Ishiki without the karma? Because I have to remember that Amado said that he needs the karma as a conduit to bring forth the power of Ishiki, even though the power of Ishiki still lies within him. So Amado was basically telling the truth there, so we can confer that he was telling the truth that Kawaki still has the powers of Ishiki. So how is he using the powers of Ishiki without the karma? I don't think anybody brought that up, so that's really interesting. Or maybe it's just the powers of a karma member or whatever, a Kara member. So I don't know, but I think they really directed the power to the power of the Otsutsuki. But I don't think anybody really mentioned how is he using this ability without the karma. So that's something for another video, I guess. So we're gonna skip forward to something important that I really wanted to address. So Boruto can't absorb Code's claw marks. So we know that the karma has the ability to absorb chakra or ninjutsu or whatever, but Boruto can't absorb Code's claw marks. So Kawaki actually inputted himself into the conversation. He's still dying on the floor, by the way, but yeah, he's still there. So he's kind of commenting on the situation, telling Boruto what's happening. Or maybe he's just talking to the audience. Maybe Boruto is not even listening to him. But Kawaki says that Code's claw marks is comprised of iron from his blood content mixed with materialized chakra. So Boruto can't absorb it because it's part of his being. So it's similar to Kaguya's ash bones, where it's literally a manifestation of her bones, literal material of her bones in her body. So it's not just chakra that can be absorbed. So yeah, but if you think about it deeper, I know I'm kind of nitpicking here, but if you think about it deeper, if it's still comprised of chakra, he should be able to absorb the chakra out of it, right? Technically speaking, right? So same way, let's say a Renegon user can touch your body. Your body is your body. It's a physical object. It's not chakra, but he can still absorb the chakra within your body, right? So I think the karma should be able to draw the chakra from the claws, even though they're not pure chakra, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, it's kind of technical and I'm nitpicking here, but yeah, that's just what I think about it. So we fast forward to Code actually bringing up the plan he mentioned in the prior chapter, that he's going to use Boruto as a fruit, or the Otsutsuki to feed to the god tree to generate the fruit. And he's basically saying that Boruto will be premium content. He's referred to him as premium content. He sounds like basically food here for the god tree, so he can get a proper fruit, so that's really interesting. And he also mentions to Boruto that he's gonna leave him here, so he's not planning on, which is really weird, right? He said that he's not going to take him, he's just gonna leave him and come back when he's at his prime. I'm like, is that really smart though? I mean, you could technically capture him, lock him up, sedate him, and he would still flourish to a full Otsutsuki when he reaches 100%. Because Code here is pretty confident that when Boruto reaches 100%, he's going to turn into Momoshiki. So Code is pretty confident that he can beat Momoshiki. So he's going to come for him when he's Momoshiki. So I'm like, really? Why don't you just lock him up and then you don't have to come back for him to fight everybody else? You can just take him now, lock him up. Once he reaches 100%, you throw him to the god tree, right? It just doesn't make sense. I think his arrogance and his cockiness will be his undoing. But yeah, he has the power to do what he needs to do, but apparently he doesn't have the brains. So Code then teleports behind Kawaki. I'm just giving you I know I said I wasn't going to go into the fighting, but yeah, just gonna give you this because it lines up with something that happens next. So this is just a brief overview of what happens next. So Code teleports behind Kawaki, tries to take him away, tells him that he's going to take him to my girl, what's her name again? Ada. Yes, that girl that's using the Sharingan. So he's gonna take him to Ada. Ada's watching, but Kawaki uses a shadow clone, frees himself. Boruto attacks with the Rasengan, and Code disappears. He's angry because you have to remember in the last chapter, Kawaki surrendered himself to Code and says that if he just takes him and just leave everybody alone, like everything will be okay. Just leave everybody alone and just take me. So Code is basically taking Kawaki up on his offer that he offered to him earlier, and Kawaki just basically backstabbed him and said that, okay, I'm not gonna go because Boruto is here, so I feel safe. You can go by yourself. So Code is pretty pissed. He's now upset with Kawaki's change of heart, which is stated here on the page. And then we get to Naruto's Seinen mode locates Boruto 40 kilometers away. So Naruto is using Sage mode, guys. And a lot of people in the community said that Sage mode no longer existed because Naruto lost Kurama. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Like, what is the connection between Seinen mode and Kurama? This is why I say a lot of people really didn't pay attention in the original series and even in Boruto, because even in the first arc of Boruto, Naruto used Seinen mode. That's when New was attacking the village, and that Sumare arc, and Naruto used Seinen mode to locate the chakra source of New, and then Kakashi cut the tail to disable him, right? So like people saying he doesn't have Sage mode anymore because he no longer has Kurama, and Kurama was the one that's generating Sage chakra and all that nonsense. I'm like, bro. So we have to, like, Kurama does help with generating like Sage chakra, but that was in the war when they became friends, and Kurama KCM mode, when he's in KCM, not when Kurama is in his belly and he's in base form. When he's in KCM specifically, that mode helps to generate Sage chakra faster. So in base is actually slower. But if we go back to the New arc, Naruto basically generated and entered Sage mode within less than 10 seconds in base. So people saying that, oh, it's going to take like 5-10 minutes to go into Sage mode is complete nonsense, you know. And then we also have to mention here, I think it's mentioned, or in the last chapter, that Naruto is using clones to kind of generate Sage chakra. So this implies that he's still using the tactic he used in the Pain arc, where he set the clones at Mount Miyaboku to generate Sage chakra while he was fighting Pain. So when Sage mode runs out, he can reverse summon one of those clones and release it and absorb its chakra, the same way he absorbs a clone's information or battle experience to get stronger. So he absorbs the Sage chakra they collect and re-enter Sage mode once again. And also in this chapter, we have Shikamaru. So every chapter and every Boruto episode, they keep pointing out that he no longer has Kurama and he's somehow weaker. Shikamaru here is very concerned. He's worried that Naruto won't be able to maintain Seinen mode for very long. And I'm like, you think that Naruto in his current age, like he's 30 something, like he should be able to stay in Seinen mode for a very long time, longer than he usually did, like in the original series. I have to remember that Seinen mode was able to take on Ten Tails Jubito. We have to remember that. So this power is not weak. And this is Naruto 10 years, 19 years later. The mode is supposed to be stronger. I have to remember that Sage mode is like a multiplier. So Sage mode multiplies the base strength of the user. So if Naruto's base gets stronger, and we can concur that base Naruto is way stronger than base Okage Naruto is way stronger than base Teen Shippuden Naruto, then that means that Sage mode is way stronger than it was before in Shippuden, right? It's something simple we can infer based on the information we have about Sage mode. So Naruto quickly corrects Shikamaru, as he should, and explains to Shikamaru that he can maintain it for even longer than he used to be able to. And Naruto says that it's because he's more experienced now, as I said earlier, like he should be more experienced, he's older, so he should be able to maintain it longer and be stronger, to be honest. And he says that he's more experienced now and he's gotten older and wiser too. So this basically confirms for all the doubters out there that saying that's basically Naruto now as Okage is now pain level because he no longer has Kurama. Complete nonsense. Naruto basically confirms right now that it's way stronger than it was before and he's way more efficient with it. So maybe he has another ability. Maybe he has some other abilities with it. Maybe you get to see Ma and Pa, the two frogs that Jiraiya used to basically extend and enhance his Sage Mode. Imagine Naruto's perfect, and remember that the Sage Mode that Jiraiya used was the imperfect version. So remember, imagine perfect Sage Mode Naruto using the toads on top of his clones gathering sage energy. Like, he would be very, very strong. So we just want to see what happens here. But yeah, we're getting to the end of this, so let's finish up before this video gets too long. So the battle with Code and Boruto continues, and Boruto manages to surprise Code with a vanishing Rasengan, but the attack wasn't close enough. Boruto suddenly drops to the ground on his knee, seemingly unable to move. Boruto starts clenching his chest and is unable to form any coherent words or sentences anymore. Kawaki calls out Boruto in vain. Ada and Code are just silently observing this spectacle. Boruto moans and groans before finally collapsing down on his side on the ground, still clenching his chest. End of chapter. So there's actually another page that he posted, but I'm not going to go through it because it's basically the dialogue between these characters. So these are major spoilers that I don't think you guys are really interested in, but you guys can go on Organic Dinosaur and check it out. I'm not going to post it here. How I look at things is that some spoilers are good and we can go over them that don't really like spoil everything. Maybe we know how it ends and how it begins and know the middle point, but like things that happen in between, now I'd like to leave that for the chapter itself so you guys can go check it out and get the correct information about what exactly is said and how it's said in the context of a situation. So I'm not going to go over every single thing and post every single thing here, but the other one like goes into detail on why everything's happening, the exact dialogue that's coming out, so you guys can go check it out if you guys can get the information, but I'm not going to go through that here. So based on what just took place, it basically confirmed the panel I posted earlier of Boruto collapsing on the ground, holding his chest. So yeah, Boruto is actually down for the count. I think it's because of the pills. So we know that there's a side effect to the pills, and Amado basically said that there would be. So this could be the side effect. Like, he's using the power, but the pill is fighting against that power that's within him. So it's kind of giving him like a heart attack. So it's basically like when you take pills and there's a side effect to it and you ignore it and you continue doing what you're not supposed to do, and then you get that side effect to a extreme degree. That's basically what's happening here. The manifestation is taking place, but the pills themselves are fighting against this manifestation, and Boruto is trying to go all out, even though Kawaki is telling him that he needs to calm down and not use the power he doesn't understand. And Boruto just wants to take care of Code, so he's exerting himself, using this power. We see the chakra flowing from his body, but the pills are still in effect and they're fighting against this transformation. So that's basically what's happening here. Those are my thoughts on it. Do I think Boruto will die? No, that's stupid. It's called Boruto. Do I think Kawaki will die? No, that's stupid. Kawaki is in the time skip timeline. Do I think Naruto will die? No, that's stupid. Kawaki is going to send Naruto away. Naruto is not going to die because Kawaki is the one that sends him away, not Code. Do I think Shikamaru is going to die? It's highly possible because he's on the code, he's on the cover, and he's not that important. He's not an important character to the series. So yeah, Shikamaru might take the L. We might see Shikadai smoking that Shikamaru pack in a few chapters after this, crying and all that lovely stuff. So yeah, we might get to see that. I don't think he should die. There will be a great emotional impact to it, of course, because Shikamaru is a beloved character. I don't think there's many hate out there for him. I think majority of the fan base, original Naruto and Boruto, like, it's either they love him or don't care. So there's no hatred for Shikamaru any at all, in my honest view of the situation. So there will be an emotional impact to it, but I hope that it makes sense. I hope that, you know, something great happens this chapter. I don't think we're gonna get to see Momoshiki, and my theory about the Jogan actually appearing in this chapter was completely wrong, but I did get it right about the transformation, that it's just Boruto in control. It's no increase in power, it's still the same Borushiki. So yeah, and it's still highly possible that we will still see the Jogan, because the fight is not over. Boruto might unlock the Jogan on the floor, and we actually got a prelude to Boruto, or a precursor, I think that's the right word, or something that alludes to Boruto getting the scar, because we have Code like putting the tracks on his body and emerging with the slicing thing and cutting the abdomen of the clones. You know, Code literally has the weapon to slice his eye, and he's teleporting over his body and slicing his clones. Like, this is, I don't know if this isn't like alluding to Boruto getting the scar and losing his eye, I don't know what will. So it is still highly possible that he will get the scar this like this sequence of events in this fight. Maybe not this chapter, maybe not next chapter. It depends on how they draw the fight itself, but I think this is where he gets the cut. Hopefully. I don't want him to get a cut, but I need to see that fucking Jogan, bro. like this thing has been out there for so long in the anime and we haven't seen it in the manga, so it's a little annoying. And yeah, I think if Code actually and Code isn't really, we have to remember that Code, even though Code has the limiters on, Code isn't really going all out in this fight based on what I see on the spoilers, and Boruto is really going in. So it appears to me that Code is still stronger than Boruto even with his limiters on, because he's not really trying. You get what I'm saying? He is surprised by Boruto's power, but based on what we saw in the spoilers, like Code isn't really pushing hard, like he's doing basic shit. So those are just my thoughts on it. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. Do you think that Boruto will unlock the Jogan? Do you think that Shikamaru will die, the first major or second major death in the Boruto series aside from Kurama? So yeah, let's see. So comment about it in the comment section. Drop a like if you like it. If you're new, remember to subscribe. Like, this subscriber to not subscribe ratio is completely atrocious. You guys are watching the videos not subscribing. Why? It doesn't make sense. Just subscribe. Get ready for new content. I think I'm gonna post the video about I think that thing I mentioned it on Twitter, about Mitsuki's power level, and maybe that other video about what's it called again? If Sasuke killed Jiraiya. I think I have that recorded, but I haven't posted it as yet because I was thinking about like just posting the Boruto chapter because that's important now and it's relevant now. I can post the Sasuke video at any point in time. Like it doesn't change anything. So I have that in the inbox. I have that in the drafts. I have it ready. But yeah, I'm blabbing on right now. I'm gonna end the video. So if you guys like the video, like, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.